Evolution of Dr. Facilier. Dr. Facilier, voiced by Keith David, appears as the main antagonist in the 2009 animated movie The Princess and the Frog. He is first seen on the busy streets of New Orleans, striking a deal with a bald man who wishes to grow hair. Facilier makes it so by having the man's hair grow over his entire body, frightening both civilians and the man himself, while amusing the sadistic Facilier. However, Facilier's joy is short-lived when he witnesses just how much wealth is owned by Eli Big Daddy Bouff. The envious Facilier and his shadow follow Big Daddy and his daughter Charlotte into a cafe. Here, he eavesdrops on the conversation with a lovesick Charlotte, who looks to marry Prince Naveen. Facilier plots to use their union to seize the Bouff fortune. Once Prince Naveen and his valet Lawrence arrive, Facilier takes them to his parlor, where he transforms the prince into a frog. And Lawrence, meanwhile, becomes Facilier's accomplice and is transformed into an exact copy of Naveen by a talisman that has his blood. Under the disguise of Naveen, Lawrence is to marry Charlotte and become the heir to the Bouff fortune. Later on, when Naveen's blood begins to run out in a talisman and Lawrence's disguise begins to fade, with no other choice, Facilier is reduced to asking for help from his friends on the other side, whom he offers the souls of New Orleans citizens as payment, declaring that the voodoo spirits will be free to prey upon and consume them once the city is under his command. When the demons return with Naveen in their possession, delighted, Facilier captures the prince within his grasps and forcefully holds him down as Lawrence steals back the blood and stores it in the talisman. Fortunately, Naveen escapes yet again with the help of his firefly friend Ray and grabs hold of the talisman before throwing it to him. When Ray manages to hand the talisman over to Tiana, Facilier and the shadows have her cornered. Facilier offers to grant Tiana her restaurant while also referencing everything she sacrificed, all the naysayers who doubted her, and most notably her deceased father, with whom she had shared her dream. This almost convinces Tiana to give the talisman to him, but in the end, she thusly rebuffs his deal and destroys it. Upon doing so, Facilier falls into a state of immediate panic as his friends from the other side arrive to collect the doctor's soul as punishment for his failure to repay his debt. Dr. Facilier, portrayed by David Lamar, appears in the earlier versions of the show Villains Tonight, but no longer does. Here, Facilier is called on by Hades to get a second opinion on what the fates said. Facilier confirms what they said was true, all the while singing different verses of Friends on the Other Side. Eventually, he goes into a full-blown version of his song, complete with dancers and shadows. While Dr. Facilier is not appearing in the computer-animated series Descendants, Wicked World, his hat can be seen in Mal's tent during the first few episodes. More notably, he is revealed to be the father of a teen daughter named Freddie Facilier. Dr. Facilier, portrayed by Daniel Francis, appears in the 7th season of the ABC drama series Once Upon a Time. When Tiana's kingdom is falling apart, she visits Dr. Facilier and asks him to help her find a prince. Facilier makes her think that a man named Robert is the prince she is looking for. However, Robert turns out to be a fraud, and he is after the ruby medal that belonged to Tiana's father, James. He only tried to steal it because Facilier had his true love captured. Tiana gives the ruby medal to Facilier, but she is almost killed by him. However, Tiana fights back and rescues Robert's true love. However, Facilier manages to get the ruby from the medal and disappears. On the day of Tiana's coronation, he pays her a visit and informs her that he means no harm, only to warn her about a threat to her kingdom. He directs her to a certain part of the bog, where a massive alligator has attacked the prince. Facilier hopes that Tiana will be able to slay the beast, as it has swallowed a necklace that belonged to Regina, and he wishes to return it to her. Once the alligator is dead, Facilier appears at the bank in front of Tiana and a dying Prince Naveen, who was attacked by the alligator. He teleports the necklace out of the alligator's corpse, and then informs her that, since Naveen has already passed on, there will be a great price if he uses his power to revive him. Tiana insists that since she killed the alligator and regained the necklace for him, she owes him nothing, and Facilier agrees. However, after Naveen recovers, Facilier teleports him to a place where Tiana will never find him, explaining to her that, although she paid the price by getting the necklace back, Naveen also owed him, seeing as it was his life. Tiana angrily tells Facilier that she will find Naveen, but Facilier remains unconvinced as he teleports away. Later, Facilier is taken in The Dark Curse by Drizella, The Coven of the Eight, and Regina. In Seattle, he becomes Mr. Baron Samedi and is eventually killed by Wish Realm's Rumpelstiltskin. Dr. Facilier, portrayed by Jamal Sims, appears in the 2019 Disney Channel original movie Descendants 3, alongside his teen daughter, Celia Facilier. In the American live television sketch comedy Saturday Night Live, Dr. Facilier, portrayed by Kenan Thompson, enters about halfway through the sketch. Here, Princess Tiana learns a shocking fact about frogs from Prince Naveen, and Tiana goes to Facilier for answers about the physical transformation. Dr. Facilier appears in a group photo in the live-action, traditional, and CGI animation movie versions, Once Upon a Studio.